The Kicking Mustang concealment system. This video is going to give you a full overview of all the products that I now have available for you. Going from the ghillie suits, the cloaks, Cobra Hood, Balaclavas, the hats, the new high tents, bag covers, crafting suits. We're going to go through the whole lot, everything you need to know about what is available and how you can utilise it in your ghillie game. So let's kick things off. Let's have a look at the ghillie suit here. This one is a dark forest version. When you get the ghillie suit, it comes with a schmock and a bottom. These are the pants. They come fitted with the new adaptive leaf strips. What the adaptive leaf strips do is blend in with natural dead leaf litter, perfectly matching the reflection of the leaves and no matter what the lighting conditions, so whether it's intense light or in shade as we are now, these leaves on the suit are going to perfectly match dead leaf litter. It's also got pre-sewn adaptive ghillie mesh, not a huge amount, I would call it highlights. It's in a dark green, which kind of works well in a winter environment that we're in now. It perfectly matches brambles. Now what the adaptive ghillie mesh has, the green adaptive ghillie mesh, what it does, unlike perhaps a green cotton or a green polyester or any kind of green material, normally what happens when it's hit with sunlight, the colour will fade a little bit, but natural vegetation, when sunlight hits it, the green intensifies because of the chlorophyll in the leaves. Now that's what the adaptive ghillie mesh does. As bright light hits it, the colours intensify, so it perfectly mimics natural vegetation. There's not a huge amount on it on the suit. It is, I would call it highlight, but it does do a really nice job of mimicking the natural environment that we're in today. They come with a very large hood. The hood is big enough that it can go over a helmet. Most of you who will buy one of the KMCS suits will probably also want to have a balaclava to go with it. Balaclavas are just all one size, and the reason they're only one size is because they are fully adjustable. They have adjustment around the top and around the sides with elastic here and here for adding natural vegetation, as do the suits actually. So the suits actually have a webbing on them, so you can add natural veg, but they also come with elastic as well. Where my cameraman can find it, they do have elastic on there somewhere. Perfect for adding natural vegetation. The balaclava, it comes with an elongated beard at the front. Now, so when you put it on, it's going to feel quite big, but it's got the two-way adjustment, so it's got two toggles. One is going to tighten it against your face, this one, and then to pull it up and over your eyes is the second toggle. Now the beard at the front, what this does, this will help prevent any kind of shadow forming underneath your face. Even if you're not wearing a hat or a cap and you're leant forward, if you don't have this beard in place, let's say you're tucked up and you've got a traditional style balaclava, it creates a shadow under your body here. So if you've got a gun, you're aiming, you're leaning over, there's all this shadow formed underneath you. This dark shape that forms is very unnatural. Now what the balaclava has is this beard, which helps to hide the shadow. So any kind of light is going to pick up on the adaptive leaf strips and the base mesh and help to hide any shadow that's going to give you away. So that's what the beard is there for, if you're wondering why it's so long at the front. Another alternative to a balaclava, which is a really popular product, is this simple face cover. It's got a simple elastic toggle at the back, and it's got a flat piece of mesh here, so it sits over your nose and over your face perfectly with the elastic holding it against there, and is just a simple item that works perfectly with the Boonie Hat. So this is the wire-rimmed Boonie Hat. The wire rim allows you to mould the boonie to the shape that you desire. A cowboy style hat, you can have it as a traditional flat boonie. The disadvantage of a flat boonie is that it does create a bit of a shadow. So if you want to avoid the shadow, you can bend it around your face like this. So you still get advantage of the rim on the boonie, but you can mould it to your face and while reducing the shadow. Another thing I like to do with the wire rim is just deform it a little bit. By removing the straight edges, it makes it a bit more natural. Straight edges aren't particularly natural, and yeah, it's mouldable wire rim Boonie Hat. The Boonie Hat also features the webbing on top, which is used for adding natural vegetation. It's got elastic, so you can stuff grass and natural vegetation in there. And like, it's made of the same material as all the KMCS suits. Of the main products that is available is a KMCS cloak. I'm actually wearing a cloak here. It comes with the long arms. It's got a open front, means you are fully open here. So today I'm wearing a schmock. So the cloak doesn't cover anything below the chest down, so I can access all my pockets. If I was wearing a chest rig, I could access a chest rig. My holster can be worn over or underneath it. Yeah, so this is the cloak, and it features the same wire rim hood as the suits. It's got highlights of dark green adaptive ghillie mesh. Comes with the adaptive leaf strips. Interesting actually, you can see the slight difference. So I've been playing today and rolling around in the mud, and you can see how my used adaptive leaf strips have absorbed a bit of mud, and this is the difference between this suit I've been using intensively for about 2 months. So you can see the difference between a brand new suit out the bag and a intensely used suit. You can also see how well these leaves hold up to a lot of abuse. This has been dragged through bramble fields, and it's been really put through its paces in the last couple of months. Like the suits, it's got the webbing on the back for adding natural vegetation. It's got the elastic for adding the natural vegetation. One of the key features for me that separates the KMCS from other ghillie suits on the market is the base mesh that they're all made out of. Whether it's the cloaks, the suits, the hats, the tents, they're all made out of this base mesh. What makes the base mesh special is that it's lightweight, but just because the suit is lightweight, that's not necessarily an important feature. But what is important is it's lightweight and super strong. So normally, if you're using a fabric that's very lightweight and breathable like this is, it will often tear with brambles. Now, if this thing gets caught on brambles, the brambles are going to break. It's got a very high number of yarns used in the weave, which makes it incredibly strong, but also very breathable. So in the summer, often one of the things you hear is people say, "Oh, aren't you hot in that suit?" In a KMCS, you're not going to be hot because the holes in it are very, very breathable. It's not just you're not hot, it will actually protect you from the sunshine, it will protect you from the heat in the summer. I've worn a KMCS suit with just a wicking layer in Texas in 40 degrees C temperatures. I've worn it in Spain in 40 degrees C temperature. I've also used it in Puerto Rico and Brazil, all in tropical conditions. It's a very, very breathable, very, very lightweight, unlike traditional ghillie suits, which you're going to get hot and you're going to get exhausted wearing them. The KMCS is super lightweight, super strong, very, very breathable. Also, because it is so strong, it makes it very, very easy to craft. You can use cable ties to add foliage, artificial vegetation, adaptive ghillie mesh using these cable ties, and it is incredibly... I'm trying to pull it here to break to show you what it really takes to... So you can see how much force that took to pull this off. It really and look, you can even see, I don't know whether the camera's going to pick it up, the force of pulling that off has actually deformed the cable tie. That's how strong the mesh is. That's just a single thread of the KMCS mesh versus a 2.5mm cable tie. The 2.5mm cable tie has deformed, and even though that's torn, it's ripstop. So now that's not going to go anywhere. So it's a ripstop, super light material that even if it does get a hole in it, it's not going to go any further. So this is one of the key features of the suit. You're getting a suit that's a suit for life. I've always said the KMCS suit is a suit for life. Even if it does get damaged, it's not going to rip further, and you're going to be able to craft it and put a lot of time and effort into building your ghillie suit if you want to, safe in the knowledge that it's going to be strong enough to last. Up next is this slightly smaller version of the cloak that I'm wearing. This is a Cobra Hood. Now the Cobra Hood is just the hood and the arms. Now, so what the Cobra Hood does, it fulfills one of the primary functions of a ghillie suit, which is to break up the shape, the human shape, this head and shoulders shape. This is going to give you away, no matter how good your camouflage is, if you are perfectly formed human being out in the woodland, even if you can perfectly mimic a bush, if you are a human shaped bush, you are going to be spotted. You're going to, oh look, there's a human shaped bush there. people are going to spot it. Now, what primary function of a ghillie suit is to disrupt that human shape, and that's what the Cobra Hood will do. It's got the hood and the arms. It's one size fits all. It's attached with a single buckle at the front, and it's adjustable in three places. The first adjustment is an elasticated cord that goes around under the arms, so it secures your arms in place. Arms are very important because it's great to have your arms concealed, because often you're holding your gun out here. It's going to provide protection. You're lying down, it can help conceal your gun that you're using. The hood is exactly the same hood as on all the other products. It's got the wire rim, it's got the three-way adjustment, the adjustment here, the wire rim, and the elastic at the back to pull it off your face if you want to. Fulfilling the primary role of a ghillie suit, breaking up that head and shoulder shape. Is now concealed with the hood. KMCS Cobra Hoods, very, very popular with guys who are perhaps running an assault loadout and they just want to throw this on top of their kit, and perhaps they're wearing a chest rig, perhaps they're wearing plate carriers. This is perfect. Now, one thing I will often do when I'm using a Cobra Hood, I often use a Cobra Hood in the summer. In the summer months, if I'm playing somewhere really hot, perhaps when I went recently to Puerto Rico, or perhaps I'm going to Spain, or I'm in Mexico in May. I'm expecting some very, very high temperatures in Mexico. I'm going to be wearing a Cobra Hood. It's just going to be the arms, it's going to be the cover, and I'm going to have a wicking layer underneath it. But what I will do is I will combine it with a Camelbak or a small pack. So I'm going to have hydration on my back, and I'm going to cover the hydration pack or the small day pack with one of these. This is a day pack cover, goes over the pack, the drawstring, and pulls it closed. I don't have a backpack on me today, but this one is a medium size. There is a small size for Camelbak, there's a large size for full packs, and really good to combine this with a Cobra Hood if you're wearing perhaps a backpack or a Camelbak. Just a moment ago we were talking about breaking up the head and shoulder shape to keep us hidden when we're out there ghillie sniping. One of the products you will probably see me use quite a lot in videos, but maybe you're wondering what it is. It is a KMCS Mitznefet, pronouncing that correctly. Mitznefet is an Israeli helmet cover, and it's an item that is tried and tested in battle in Israel. It looks a bit like a chef's hat, and I think Mitznefet actually means priest's hat. I've got my Mitznefet here, which I use today in game. I'm going to put my Balaclava on as well. Now, even if you're wearing a Balaclava like I am here, perhaps when you got your hood up, this is great. Hoods are fantastic. They do a really good job. It's breaking up the head and shoulder shape. I can look around inside to some degree without having loads of movement. I can put natural veg in here. It's pretty much a staple of ghillie suit sniping, a hood. And they're tried and tested, they work. But the big issue with a hood is that if I'm looking at you like I'm looking at you now, with the hood up, this hood provides excellent concealment from the sides, from the back, and it does change the head and shoulder shape. The problem with the hood though is it creates a shadow. So all my face here is going to be an unnatural dark blob. If the sun is catching me at just the wrong angle and someone's looking at me from up there, this dark shadowy shape that you're going to get under the hood could potentially give me away. Now, if you're not wearing a hood, there may not be the shadow, but you've got the shape of the head and shoulders showing, which is a giveaway. Now what I've got here is my personal Mitznefet. I've crafted it lightly, and I've added a little bit of natural veg for the feel today. By putting this on top of my head like this, it's having the same effect as a hood. So it's getting rid of the head and shoulder. It's disrupting that human head and shoulder shape without creating shadow, or much less shadow. You can see how it kind of fills the space. So it's had the effect of a hood without the drawback of creating that shadow. This is a KMCS Mitznefet. It's becoming very, very popular. Once people start to try this, they realise how powerful it is. And it's one of the key pieces of my personal ghillie suit loadout, and I really rate them. Once you've tried it, you will understand why it's such a powerful piece of equipment to add to your ghillie suit loadout. The only drawback of a Mitznefet over a hood is that if I'm looking around like this, the whole Mitznefet does move. A hood, if you're moving your head inside it, the hood doesn't move so much. So the Mitznefet, it doesn't have the effect of disguising the movement of your head, but it does disrupt your head and shoulder shape without creating a shadow. So it's up to you, you know, do you decide to go for a hood? Do you have a Mitznefet? I personally really like the Mitznefets. I think it's a great product. It's tried and tested in Israel. It's tried in battle. You even see them being used in Ukraine at the moment. Some of the Ukrainian forces are using Mitznefets because they realise how effective they are. So yeah, it's great to see these out there and being used. And yeah, Mitznefets. Right, a lot of you guys are into crafting, and the product I've got for you is the KMCS crafting suit range. When you buy a crafting suit, you're going to get a full suit, which is a pair of trousers. Now these are bare suits. They work really well on their own. The concealment is pretty good on them. The pattern and the colours are pretty good. But what they're truly meant for is for guys who want to totally tailor-make a loadout or a ghillie suit craft from scratch. And it's a bare crafting suit giving you a super strong, lightweight, breathable suit to base a ghillie suit on. So if you want to add hessian, you can cable tie hessian to it. It's got perfect size holes for 2.5mm cable ties. You can add raffia, cottons, whatever you want to craft, adaptive ghillie mesh, whatever you want to craft onto your suit. These are the perfect suit for a completely custom ghillie suit build from scratch. Now when you do get one of these suits, one of the bare camouflage suits, they also come with a bare Mitznefet, which we just spoke about. It also comes with a bare balaclava. It also comes with a bare bag cover. So when you buy one of these from the retailers, you've got something that you can conceal your pack with, your head with, balaclava. You've got Mitznefet, you've got the schmock, and you've got the trousers. So when you buy the crafting suits, they come in at £140. And for the £140, you're getting the trousers, you're getting the schmock I'm wearing, you're getting a balaclava, you're getting a Mitznefet, and you're getting the pack cover. Everything you need to completely conceal yourself. It's a very high value product in my opinion, and if you're into ghillie crafting at all and you want to build a suit from scratch, this is a great place to start. The KMCS crafting suit range, and you get all that stuff in one package for 140 quid. And if you're into crafting, let's have a look at some of the KMCS crafting ranges. We've got base mesh here. We've got them in both of the patterns. We've got the dark forest and the woodland floor. If you want to know the difference between the dark forest and the woodland floor is a slightly lighter colour, and they're probably better for drier months in maybe late spring, or maybe if you're into crafting, you want to add a load of adaptive ghillie mesh, and perhaps you're playing in pine forests. The woodland floor works really well. It's got a slightly greyer tint to it than the dark forest. The dark forest is the suit I'm wearing here, and it's got a darker brown tone to it, perfect for wet winter months. This mesh is the same base mesh that the suits are made out of. It's quite a large piece you get with it, and it's perfect for creating rifle wraps, or if you want to do any custom builds. Quite a large piece. Yeah, KMCS crafting mesh is available. If you are looking to want to get hold of some of the adaptive leaf strips that are on the suits, they are available in separately. In a pack you're getting about 5 meters, give or take a few centimeters. They come in strips like this for creating rifle wraps, for adding to your, if you want to have a denser leaf mass on your suit, or if you want to fill up some of these areas with more leaves, you can use this. I also use these for wrapping my rifles, so I will cut these into smaller pieces and then I will apply them with cable ties. KMCS adaptive leaf strips. It's a fantastic product. So for a long time we've used, this is interesting actually, while we're looking down here, this on here, this is cotton. These are from the KMCS crafting packs. Now cottons do a fantastic job of mimicking dead vegetation. Look how the colours match really well. But the problem with cottons is, as good as they are at mimicking dead leaves, they do over time degrade. You can see how they've kind of lost their shape a little bit. They go a little bit limp. They fray at the edges, which is fine. It's good. It's not bad. But the adaptive leaf strips that we've got here, they've got the same ability as cotton to perfectly mimic natural vegetation, even with it being in direct sunlight, or if we put it in shade, it still perfectly mimics it in shade or in intense sunlight. Unlike cottons, the adaptive leaf strips do not degrade. So cottons degrade like this. Adaptive leaf strips are going to retain their shape and their integrity. Available to buy 5 meters in a bag. Even up close, they do a really good job of mimicking those dead leaf foliage on the forest floor. I'm hesitant to use the word game changer, but the characteristics that these leaves have, it's a very unique product, because cotton also, when it gets wet, cotton, I've got on my trousers here, it can get heavy. When it gets sodden in mud and you're playing in winter, cotton can get heavy. The adaptive leaf strips are much lighter than cotton, but they also are stronger than cotton. They retain their shape better than cotton. It's a great product, and I think anybody who's into ghillie crafting, or they want to conceal any equipment or their rifle, is going to really find them a fantastic product all year round. Whether it's in the summer months when you just want to add some tan tones, when you've got the dry leaf foliage, or in the winter months when you've got all that dead foliage on the ground. It's a great product. If you're into crafting at all, it's essential. It's a very, very good product. I would highly recommend that. Now, one other product for crafting that is under the radar a little bit, and I haven't spoken about it much, but they are selling really well. It's the scrap bags. When you buy one of these, you get 250 grams of the base mesh. So you get the same base mesh you get in one of these bags, but instead of it being a perfectly large sheet, these are the scraps from when these suits are made. Now, I had the option of bidding this stuff off, but it's really useful. Anybody who's into crafting, ghillie crafting, will know that having this sort of material is really super useful. So they're about £8, £8.50, something like that, give or take a few pennies depending on which store you're going to, depending on the exchange rate. But for about £8.50 you're getting 250 grams of this material, and it's very useful because you could use it for pouches. I'm going to use this as an example. This is one of the KMCS hide holsters. Obviously it is wrapped, but if this wasn't covered in this material, you could use shoe glue and you could stick a bit there, you can stick another bit over here, and it's going to allow you to add KMCS mesh to pouches and equipment, perhaps scopes, stocks of your gun. The great thing about the KMCS mesh, which we touched on earlier, is the 2.5mm cable tie holes. Super strong, so you can glue this, cable tie it onto your equipment, and then you can craft onto it. It's a value product that is going to be of interest to anybody who's into ghillie crafting, and for £8.50 you're going to get a whole ton of material that is going to be super useful for building ghillie suits, building wraps, and crafting your equipment. Again, made from the same fantastic mesh that the base suits are made out of and everything else is made out of, but these have got suede bottoms for grip and comfort. Again, comes with the adaptive leaf strips. These, I probably wouldn't recommend these for the winter months, but for summer months they're very, very breathable, very comfortable, very lightweight. In the winter months you would have to wear something underneath them. They're not going to be waterproof at all. They are breathable, very, very lightweight, but still really strong and comfortable. KMCS ghillie crafting gloves. Final product I want to show you guys is the KMCS hide tent. Now this is a very limited run I've only got 5 of these, and it's something that I've wanted to do. It's a personal project, and I've got my own personal hide tent, and there's 5 available to buy. As you can see in this gameplay clip that's playing now, it literally allows you to disappear into the forest floor. People are tripping over me here, and I'm hidden there picking people off, and nobody has a clue, because it allows you to hide in the middle of in the sort of places that nobody expects. Now, the hide tent is just about small enough that if you're wearing a schmock like I am, with a big pocket in the back, or you've got a big dump pouch, it is possible to carry it in your back like this. It's about 8 feet long. You can use tent pegs or you can use twigs. You put the tent peg through at the back here, of the high tent is an opening here with a toggle. You put your rifle inside here, tightening it around the rifle. There is an opening here for your scope. It's a wire rimmed opening, so you mould this around your scope. Now it's covered in pockets like this, and it's got loops for adding natural vegetation. Your gun here, there'll be no shadow. Your gun on the tripod. Often when you've got a gun on a tripod, there will be a shadow underneath it. This will eradicate that. And if you need a fixed position and you want a fixed overwatch position, it's going to do a great job if you've got time to set it up. Leaf litter is, if you try to stuff leaf litter into traditional ghillie suits, it just falls out. It doesn't stay in there. These pockets are used for putting the leaves in. That the high tent is going to be useful for is on perhaps an attack defend type game that often skirmishers run, or if you're kind of a mil sim and you want to set up a hide location. Perhaps you have time to set up a position, and it gives you the ability to construct a hide overlooking a position. Now it's the case of, with your rifle set up at the front, you climb under. Now you could use binoculars through here. This is the opening. You could use binoculars, or you've got your rifle scope set up. Because of the KMCS mesh, I'm also able to see out of it. So I'm in a high position here. I've got myself perfectly blended into the ground. Just with a little bit of more time, maybe you've got 10-15 minutes, you can get this perfectly covered up, and you're now in an overwatch position, perfectly concealed and protected in a ghillie tent. And yeah, KMCS high tent. And as you can see from the gameplay now that's playing, when you put it in the right kind of place, in the right kind of scenario, you're literally invisible. With players will be running over the top of you and literally tripping over you in this using this high tent. And so when you've got your gun pointing at the front, you've got your scope here, and you've got your gun on a tripod, it is designed so it's got a curtain like this, so it will sit down and it will stop any kind of shadow forming. So you've got your personally, on my personal high tent, I've taken the time to craft it as well. So in the same way that I've crafted my ghillie suits, I've also crafted my high tent. This is obviously bare, not ideal being bare. What you want to do is spend a little bit of time, in my opinion, to use cable ties to craft it like you would a ghillie suit. You might want to add hessian, you might want to add raffia, you might want to add some artificial leaves to it as well, just to create a bit more disruption to the base mesh. KMCS high tent.